Okay, so this is a quick guide on how to graph given our different types of equations. So I'm going to go over each type of equation and how to graph from that equation. So we're going to start with graphing in slope-intercept form. And this is posted in the announcements as well as underneath this recording in the OMS if you need it. So we're going to start with slope-intercept form. We know slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We know that m is my slope, which is always my rise over run, and b is my y-intercept, okay, which is where I cross the y-axis. So in case you don't know this, slope is always our rise over our run. It's our rate of change. It's how a graph is increasing or decreasing. And b is always my y-intercept, which is where I cross the y-axis, or cross the y-axis, yeah. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at example y equals negative 1/3 x plus 9. So we're going to identify the y-intercept, identify the slope. We always start with the y-intercept, so we plot the y-intercept first and count to our next point using slope. So look at this equation and say, okay, let's line this up. Mx plus b. M is negative 1/3. B has to be 9. So I'm going to start with 9. So I find the y-axis. We know this is our y, this is our x. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I put a point. And then I'm counting my slope. So my slope is negative 1/3. So that means I'm going down 1, right 3. So I fall 1, go right 3, fall 1, go right 3, fall 1, go right 3. And here I have the points for me to graph this line. So I have everything I need to graph this line, and I'm going to graph it straight through those points. And we notice here that the slope was negative, so the line should be decreasing. It should be going down from left to right. And we can see here that it is decreasing from left to right. Okay, so this is how we graph in slope-intercept form. All right, let's talk about graphing in point-slope form. So point-slope form we've talked about. We should know what point-slope form is. So we're going to use point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And in this, we know that m is our slope as always, and x1, y1 is a point on the graph. So it's a point that we are choosing on the graph. This is a specific point. So our steps are graphing in point slope are we identify the slope, we identify the point given, and we plot the given point and count to our next point using the slope. So if we line these up, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So m is pretty straightforward. M is negative 1/4. All right, x1, y1 is a little bit trickier. So what's in the place of x1 is looks like a positive 2. This is the trickiest thing about point slope, but it is actually a negative 2 because my original formula is minus x1. So all of a sudden I see a plus, that means I put a minus a negative here. So actually x1 is negative 2. So with this formula, you have to take the opposite of whatever sign you see. All right, y1, it looks like it's a negative 3, but it was actually a positive 3 because I just plugged it in and I got minus 3. If it had been a negative 3, it would have become positive. So we're going to start at this point. So negative 2, 3, I go back to up 3. This is my starting point. And my slope is negative 1/4. So I'm going to fall 1, run 4. So down run 1, run 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, run 1, 2, 3, 4. If I really wanted to, I could rise 1, but then I'd have to go backwards 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the big thing to notice here is that my slope is negative, therefore my line should be decreasing. So this line is decreasing from left to right. This line is decreasing from left to right. Okay, and that is the graph of this line. Now, if I really did not want to do this, if I was like, I can't remember, our other option is to always change this back into slope-intercept form. We really couldn't remember because slope-intercept form is like our favorite child. We like it the best. We could distribute the negative 1/4. So I get negative 1/4 x minus 1/2 equals y minus 3. I can add 3 to each side, and I get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2.5. So I'd start at 2.5. Oh, look, that's right where I cross the y-axis. And I can count from there with my slope. The only thing is from counting from there, I'm having to count fractional values, and that's a lot. So we always have the option of solving for y. If you want to solve for y and go to slope-intercept form, I honestly do that most of the time. I solve an equation for y, I go to slope-intercept form, okay? All right, so this is how to graph in standard or point slope form. Next, we're going to talk about how to graph in standard form. Okay, so standard form is a totally different animal. Standard form is the equation, as we know it, ax plus by equals c. And the thing is about standard form that makes it a totally different animal is that we're not actually given any like useful information. We got to kind of dig in there and find that information. So here's how we graph in standard form. We're not actually worried about point or slope. We're going to find our x and y intercepts. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to substitute 0 in for y to find the x-intercept, okay? So wherever we want to find the x-intercept, y is 0. So my example is 4x minus 5y equals 20. What I'm going to do is 4x minus 5y equals 20. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to replace the y with a 0 because that is on the x-axis. So on the x-axis where the x-intercept is, y is 0. So I will solve this. 5 times 0 is 0. So I have 4x equals 20. Divide by 4 on each side. X equals 5. So my x-intercept is at 5. So this is the point 5, 0. So I count over on my x-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is my x-intercept. It's where my line crosses the x-axis. Now, step 2 is we're going to substitute 0 in for x to find the y-intercept. So where I cross the y-axis, x is always 0. So I'm going to have 4x plus 5y equals 20. I'm going to do 4 times 0 plus 5y equals 20. And this is going to give me my x-intercept. The 4 is going to cancel, and I have 5y equals 20. I said x-intercept, I meant y. Divide by 5, y equals 4. So my y-intercept is at up 1, 2, 3, 4, also known as the point 0, 4. So notice this is a very important thing to remember. It's going to come in handy a lot later. If we are at the x-intercept, the y value is 0. The y value becomes 0. All right, if we are at the y-intercept, my x value becomes 0, okay? Please remember that. And then once I have this, guys, all we need to draw a line is 2 points. So we have the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and I can draw this line. Well, that didn't work out very well. Hold on. So we can draw this line through the 2 points. Now, if I really can't remember how to do this, we have a favorite child. Our favorite child is slope-intercept form. So what I can do is I could say, hey, let's change 4x minus 5y equals 20 into slope-intercept form by solving for the y. So I'm going to do minus 4x. I'm going to get negative 5y equals negative 4x plus 20. I'm going to divide each side by negative 5. So I get y equals positive 4/5 x minus 4. Positive 4/5 x minus 4. We can see my y-intercept is already at 4. And then I messed up. Where did I mess up? Let's see. I see exactly where Miss Annette messed up. Let me back up. Oopsie, oopsie. Let me go erase this line real quick. I messed up, and some of you are probably sitting here like, wait a minute, I wrote the equation wrong here. And that one little thing can mess you up so bad. So let me erase back here, come back here. And here's how I know I messed up. I just solved this for y, and this line has a positive slope. So I know this line should be increasing. what I just had on my graph was decreasing because I literally wrote a plus sign here, and so the problem was minus 5y. So what happens if I go back here, I plug 0 in for x, those canceled, and I have negative 5y equals 20. I'm going to divide each side by negative 5. I bet some of you are like, wait a minute, but now you know that you were right. I have y equals negative 4. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 4. So let's try this. So 0, negative 4 is down 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my y-intercept, and we already said my x-intercept, which I did right for that one, is 5. Now this line has a positive slope. Now we're talking. So I was able to tell that by looking at the equation in slope-intercept form and saying, hey, this equation has a slope of positive 4/5. It should be increasing, okay? And we can check this. If we see here, we see that it has a y-intercept at negative 4, and our slope is rising 1, 2, 3, 4, and running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. So this is how we graph all types. Again, we have a favorite child. We shouldn't have a favorite child in real life, but in math we do. If we can't remember these other ways to graph, we can always solve it for y and put it in slope-intercept form. That's kind of our go-to there. So this will help you guys do your lesson, and then you can come to class and we will practice this later this week. I hope this works for everybody, and if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.